What up, everybody? Duck here. Welcome to the stream. Hope everything sounds good. Volume not too loud for you. Music, let me know. So, yeah, I wanted to go live real quick because, obviously we got Bitcoin here on the screen. Looking at the daily, we've been watching this, obviously for the entire time. But what's kind of going on here, what I wanted to highlight is just this area here that we're in, right? So we've just been sitting here sideways since May 11th, right? So almost the entire month of May, borderline, right? So it just, what we wanted to have happen is ideally, right, either a quick some kind of double bottom like this, right, make a kind of neckline, but get out of there, right, and or just a straight up V-shaped recovery and then just go, right? But we didn't really get either yet, so we're still just sitting sideways here. Okay, so what's happening, so what's happening here, let's see, nobody said anything about the music here yet, but okay, all right, here we go. So what's happening is, because we're sitting sideways here for such a long time, right? Let me zoom in a little bit. Zoom in. Okay. Because we've been sitting here for so long, we're starting to we're burning out all of our fuel, right? We had fuel saved up for a rally, and we've attempted it, but we're just not getting it at the moment, okay? And here's all of our fuel, like basically there's our fuel gauge, right? We're burning our resources here, okay? So this is what I wanted to highlight, because it's starting to get not good, right? Fuel gauge low, kind of the radar's kind of going off on our dashboard, right? We're getting low on fuel. So what that's doing now, if you notice from our previous little local last high, right, on May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, that was where we painted this last previous it's pretty meh island of positive momentum here, but that's when it occurred, okay? So it was this high. So from here to where we are right now, right, it's looking like this. So this is, not panning out very well, because, well, if you're bearish, sure, but if you're looking for a rally, it's starting to go against us, because, like I said, we're running out of fuel. So we're going to have to allow price potentially to mark down here to be able to reset this again, because we didn't take advantage of this. Look, we had it right here, and even that, it wasn't really in our favor, but that was this right here was your rally, okay? And we didn't do what we needed to do, okay? So now it's kind of like ping pong, right? Or whatever, any sort of sport that has a net, back and forth, right? You take your turn, you take your shot, and if you don't score, get the point, whatever, the opponent has a chance to rally back. So the bulls, right, had their initial rally here, but the rally sputtered, okay? So now it's being volleyed back at us. The problem is, not only are we painting hidden bearish divergence here, okay? This is hidden bearish divergence, and it's on the daily, so pretty significant here. Not only are we painting that, but we're doing it at a very bad place. See, we have this critical kind of, I don't know, it's basically between 28.5, 28.8 area here that has been our current support, and painting the hidden bearish divergence sitting right on top of it isn't good, right? We wanted to use this as a bounce off of it, right? Use it as good support, but unfortunately we're just sitting right on top of it. Okay, so again, it wasn't about these wicks. These wicks weren't as concerning. Okay, what's going to be concerning would be, again, we've talked about this, if we back test it, right, and regard it then as actual resistance, because right now it's clearly been support, right? And then we start selling off again. Okay, so this follow through here, that's the real indication. Okay, so it's almost like in inverse, right, bruh? We would do the same thing, right? We would have a breakout, a back test, and then we'd start to run. Well, that run is your follow through price action that we're looking for. Okay, so right now, this is what I wanted to bring to everyone's attention is just look. I mean, you can see on this MACD that if something doesn't change soon, you're starting to roll over. I mean, not completely roll over, but you see how you're turning from the dark green into the white, right? And you see how that let me back out here. You see how that plays out on the MACD, right? So we have one of two things. We're either right here and we have this fake waning candle histogram, or we continue, or we're like right here and we're just going to roll over like that, right? So that's kind of what we're looking for there. So let me move back over here. Okay, right? So see this hidden bearish divergence, and your RSI, it's kind of rolling over as well by itself, kind of tail end. And on top of that, it's at that like 40, right? You never made it into even the neutral zone, which would have been between 40 and 60 at least, right? With the midpoint being right here at 50, of course, right in the middle. So you see how we never even made it into that territory to even test the midpoint, let alone get into our bullish territory, right? And we're already starting to kind of reject and roll over. So that's not good. So what we need to do to stay bullish is do simply that, right? Get above here and continue building relative strength. If not, again, we could see a sell-off here, because look, potentially, let's just say this was a little bit of a trend line here, right? Potentially you're breaking out of it, bearish, right? It needs some bids to come in. So if this rolls over, okay, if this happens and you get this back test, where are we gonna go? We're gonna have to come all the way back. See, this is what we're using right now. Right now, here's our current support, and this is it, right? This inverse head and shoulders here that we had this rally, right? This is our support. Notice this yellow line you're sitting on. Come back over here. This is right where you're sitting, okay? That's where it's coming from. It's right here from January 22nd, 2021. And again, back here, January 21st, 2021. Excuse me. This was June 22nd. Sorry, looked at that too fast. June 22nd and January, basically 21st, 22nd. That's our support right now. And, a little bit back here from basically New Year's 2020, kind of into 21 right there. That's it, right? So if we lose that, the next level we have down here is really pretty minuscule, because it's just this, right? It's just this little block here. At least where we are currently, you have a lot of action, right? A lot of things. Down here, it was just there for a couple days and it was gone, right? That's not very supportive necessarily. This area right here is going to be, stronger, which was the previous, 20K high. But initially, you got to deal with this level first. Either way, like it or not, right? It's still gonna act as even if it doesn't hold, you'll still get a reaction there. At least go idle maybe. So let's bring this over, okay? Boom. Let me actually also, I'm just gonna throw top side. Let's call this our and bottom side there. Okay. All right, so let's bring this all the way over with us now that you see where it came from, okay? Just in case, so people are like, well, where's that out of nowhere coming from, right? So, okay. So, a couple things here. We could not only do this, right, which basically it's 24.1 to 22.5, and once you're so close at 22.5, you may just tap 20. So this is like, I mean, bids have to hold this, right? If you lose this level, it's just so critical. It's so critical, and it's being tested and tested and tested. Like the bids there are drying up, right? And this down sloping, it just pushing, it's pushing down on that area, and you're just running. You just can't hold forever, right? So what you need to do is you got to get away from it. So you got to do that like this, right? You have to clear away from this area. Hanging out here too long is bad, right? You want to bounce off of it. You don't want to keep testing it and stabbing into that that liquidity pool that's sitting there, okay? All right, so basically if you see this, you're going to see this, all right? That's what I'm trying to say here. If we want to rally, again, we have to see the opposite, right? We need to do this, and we got to do it now. Got to get away from the area. So that's your two things right now. But again, we've lost that. See how before we had this momentum going in our favor. You see that? And the relative strength is going in our favor. But that has now, just today, changed for the first time in the past, since May 10th, basically. So in like 2-3 weeks, this is the first time you're really starting to see a potential possibility of a rollover. Okay, so all right, not only is this doing this on the daily, but let's go in one, right? Let's zoom in one time frame to the 12-hour. And you can see here on the 12-hour, we're doing the same thing, okay? Not good. Two pretty significant time frames here. And this one's much, much more developed, because the other one on Bitcoin on the daily, you're barely hitting this first tick, right, of waning momentum. But here you've got 1, 2, already almost 3 islands here. This is like well developed, and look at all of this waningness, right? I don't know how else to describe that to you, but just see how it's all white here. It's been ready, like, setting itself up for quite some time now. So what would occur here is this: you sell off, you sweep this low, okay? And by sweeping this low, it doesn't matter if you go there or if you get all the way down. Either way, as soon as you sweep this low, so as soon as you get below here, basically, right, with price, at that point, you're going to be like this on the momentum. You wouldn't have, this is not going to take you below here. I don't think it will. So what's going to happen is, as you develop this, right, you're going to eventually start to roll back over here somewhere as you double bottom, right? Wherever that is, it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to get at is this will now paint class A bullish divergence, okay? So that's going to be, okay, finally, all right, we got some support, painting bullish divergence. We have another, now it's like, here's the net, right? So it's our turn, we hit the ball, we volleyed it, now the other side volleys it back to us, right? So now we're hitting it with our racket right here, and now it's our turn to volley back over. So will this hold and rally and paint a higher high and get convergence to the upside? Time will tell, right? But that's what we'd be looking for here in this situation. So we want to turn this hidden bearish divergence, class C, into class A, bullish divergence, and, you know, just get rid of this, you know, be done with it, because it doesn't look like it does. It just, these two high time frames here, daily and 12-hour, just look like they're going to push it right down into there, okay? And not only that, but here's another look. It's all about putting all these factors together, right? Aligning this argument, right? So we just found our argument at the moment is now turning bearish on Bitcoin again, like we said, for the first time on the daily in, you know, a good couple weeks. You're finally going to roll over a little bit, showing sign for the bears in this sidewaysness price action. And even this, right, you're like making this downsloping, not necessarily downsloping trend line, but you have it on the bottom too, right? It's like a wedge, and this wedge is neutral, right? It doesn't tell us direction. These are going to tell us direction, not necessarily this pattern, right? So this pattern, well, it's kind of like this, right? And you basically you can break out both ways. So you're going to be able to break out bullish or bearish. And bearish, look at that, guys. Bearish puts you right in that zone, right? So that is, I think, what our culprit is, unfortunately, at the moment. And again, this isn't going to be the end of be all, the end forever, right? It's not going to zero. It's just like break back above this and then try again, right? So that's kind of, we just need to reset and try again, right? Again, like I said, pretend you're playing tennis or volleyball or something with a net. Just take your chance when it's your turn, right? Okay, so our next culprit, now that we've set this up on Bitcoin a little bit here, right? So now let's go to our friend the DXY. Our friend the DXY is approaching this kind of zone we highlighted previously, right? So this zone, it was just a rough area. You know, it's almost more like there's a square up area here, but then you also have the support area up here. You know, you're approaching both of those. So it was just a rough zone, okay? What is going to be more, you know, important to us is going to be how are the oscillators aligning into said zone, right, as we're approaching it. So looking back, we highlighted right here when we basically painted literally like a head and shoulders on the MACD. When we rolled over and we turned negative, we highlighted that on the MACD, and that correlated with this breakout. You see how that aligns, right, with this breakout of that that rising wedge price action, right? So yeah, so since that breakout, you know, we've just been selling off on the DXY has just been selling off, right? Just rolling over. Same thing on the RSI. You painted another head and shoulders on both of these with a neckline, broke out, back tested it, and just completely sold off. So both of these items have, you know, played out for a good amount of time now, okay? And still kind of playing out, because even what was once your previous like 3-day support here, you fell out of it again today, which, you know, you would think this should help us on Bitcoin, but problem is Bitcoin, again, it ran out of fuel, right? It ran out of fuel just when it needed, just when it was getting a little bit more help, it's running out of fuel. And at that same time, here's what's happening on the DXY, okay? So when we look at back to the oscillators, on Bitcoin, we were painting the hidden bearish divergence, okay? But on the DXY, unfortunately, we're painting hidden bullish divergence, because these have been so inverse of each other, right? So, well, we're painting a much lower level of negative momentum, right, than the previous low here, aligned from March 31st, right? Much lower level. So bears pushing this down much harder than they did right here, right? This was just more of a, it was more of just like a rectangle markup, you know, in the next little range and then markup, right? So this wasn't really it. This was just a reset more than anything. And even there, you painted hidden bearish you painted hidden bullish divergence there as well. Sorry, I just wanted to spit that out correctly. Okay, so you see that? So when you painted a lower low on you had a low on price, lower levels of negative momentum, you rallied. Okay, so again, your low on price, your current swing low is aligning with much lower levels of negative momentum. You're going to rally here, and you're painting it on the RSI as well. So this is pretty massive here. Okay, so what that means is something like this could be in store, right? XA. So let's rally, let's come down here to the 50, right? Dow's theory, 50% retrace, right? After an initial impulse up, assets are very highly likely to retrace 50% of the way before making the next move back up. Okay, so this would come back up anywhere between the 382, okay, between here, 382, or as high as the 886, right? So this can come up here. And then that being said, you know, anywhere between that, this would be painting, let's, a bullish bat at that point. So this would be looking for 886. Okay, so if this painted, check this out, bring this rectangle over and look at that, hits right on that midpoint of that range, right? So this would be a bullish bat. But in the meantime, this correlates right here. This correlates with your partial sell-off on Bitcoin. But then look, once Bitcoin hits that 25 to 22 range here, you then sell back off on the DXY, and this allows Bitcoin to rally back out. To rally back out and potentially reclaim where we are right now, right? That 28.5, 28.8 range that we're barely holding on to as support. So does that make sense now that we go back to this, how these are in inverse, but not dramatic, right? Look, this was not detrimental, as this is not going to end the world here for Bitcoin, right? And then here's your rally back to the upside, as the DXY then has the much larger leg in selling off. So again, this can be as shallow as a 382 here. Okay, it could be shallow, which means Bitcoin just hits 25, or it could go as deep as an 886, and I mean Bitcoin can potentially go all the way to 20 with that much fuel. It's possible. I'm not saying it'll happen, because anything in here is going to be live. Okay, this is why we don't necessarily trade this leg, because it has such a wide range. Okay, what'd be more important would be as we hit this D886 down here at what would likely be a 618. So for this to be a 618, this would be 886, and this would stay at the top here, 1618. It'd be like this, 786. Okay, I could see that. So if that were to happen, it'd almost be like Gartley. Again, this is kind of like a bat and a Gartley, where we hit a 786 and a 1618 here, but you have a 50% here, which is bat, but these two are showing Gartley. Or because this is a bat here, this would then need to be a bat, and it would show 886 here. So either way, somewhere in this range. Okay, so we would just highlight it like this. Okay, so when we get here, and if we bounce like this on the DXY, right, if this plays out, you're likely going to come back up here and hit this area again. So this is Bitcoin selling off again. So take advantage here and then sell off here, right? So does that make sense? I hope. Inverse, bro. They're inverse for the most part. Okay, back to Bitcoin, still just hanging out right there at 29. Nothing's changed. I mean, this could run back up to like 29,350, right? If we zoom in, let's go to like 4 hour. Sorry. All right, let's go to 1 hour. You can see it a little better. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. Swing low failure pattern in play. Right here where you have a low, lower low, higher low. Run this up. Square up this level right here, which is previous, resistance. Which was once support, is now resistance. Back test as resistance again. And then you get your sell off and you break out right here. Okay, so again, that would be 29.5 even, right? So between 29,350 and 29.5, you could look to potentially short this. It's possible. So again, if we wanna invalidate all this, right, we need to break out of this, right? And I just don't think you have the fuel left in the tank right now. So unfortunately, that's where we are. But that's where I'm getting that, like, it's really more here. It's even more clear there, right? 29,350. That's what I said the first time, and that's why. Look, that's why I said that the first time. So here, look, what was once support, now resistance, resistance again. This is on the 30-minute, and then look at this right here. You have a spot right here at 28.2 that you're going to run right to if this were to occur, right? You come up here, hit this, go right off to this 28.2, and then you maybe, once you hit that square up, you get a little relief, right? But just enough to back test that 29.7, 29.8 again, and then that's where you sell off again. So watch a square up here, watch a square up there. That's kind of like makeshift little range, right? And look, that range midpoint aligns with that critical support, right? So all of those things start to align. It just not good for us bulls. But again, we don't just stay bullish. We try to find just whatever has the best edge, whatever that may be. If it's bearish, so be it. If it's bullish, so be it. I don't really care. Picture something like that, right? Okay, looking at Bitcoin dominance, this thing is just taking off, right? So again, everything's starting to sell off into Bitcoin, which is why the dominance is rising. Alts do that, right? If and when things are going to roll over, you would see things coming into Bitcoin. You would also see it as Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's selling off, the dominance could rise, or if Bitcoin is, mooning, the dominance could rise both ways. So this doesn't indicate direction of USDT price. This just indicates that Bitcoin is taking over the majority of the crypto, the money that's in crypto, right? Out of all the money in crypto, it's Bitcoin is dominating that market pool right now, pulling from it, leaving less for your alts, right? And if there's less for your alts, then it's hard for them to rally, right? When they don't have enough liquidity to do so, right? Again, think about it like your fuel. You're running low on gas. You don't have any more gas. They're not giving you any more gas. That's it, right? So you need to somehow find more fuel. So very likely that Bitcoin dominance runs to 48%, and then next would be 49.18, 49.2, right? Those are your next two areas, and they come from back here, guys. They come from the A and the C high of the previous harmonic. You're finally going to be hitting that take profit target area. Not that this is a take profit target on Bitcoin dominance. It's more just a idea of how the whole crypto sphere is looking as a whole. But yeah, it's still something important to always be aware of, I guess, right? Okay. So moving along, ETH to BTC. This one, again, we were talking about this in the Discord yesterday. Watch out for hitting 0.06. Sure as shit, 0.06 was hit. But is that it? Maybe, maybe not. Below that, so what that was, okay, let me zoom this in a little bit here. What that 0.06 represented, if you look back over here from October the 20th, you'll see this square up, right? So see how that was that area, okay? So you have now, when price was here, right, it ran away from it and it never quite came back down here until just today, right? Literally today. Okay, so that being said, let's go back and find the next one, okay, that we never came back to. So that's going to be right here. These two areas right here. You have 0.57 and 0.58. That's the next area of support for ETH to BTC. So come all the way back over here and you can see that we're now kind of, you know, this area. I want to leave it there because if we do sell off, right, and we fall back into this area, it'd be good to then, you know, kind of make a, you know, inverse head and shoulders here kind of thing and regard this as the next neckline, because reclaiming that critical area and then, you know, aiming for square ups like this and like this, right, would be what we would want to see, right? So this represents at the moment 5% sell off, additional sell off, ETH to BTC. And already, I mean, today you had 6.87, where this is representing the new day, but 6.87 on the one that's already closed, right? Because we're a couple 3 hours into the current daily candle here. Okay. Yeah. So watch for 0.57 on ETH BTC. Is it worth throwing a short at this level? Cowboy's asking. So what you'd be looking for, Cowboy, is the break. You're basically looking for this to confirm. So you have the hidden bearish divergence, right? So if as long as this is holding, no. But as soon as this level breaks and then regard it as resistance, however, if it's just a quick tap or whatever, this is your kind of short signal. And then, you know, invalidation would be, you know, reclaiming it and running back up, right? And like sweeping that level again. So that being said, you'd have a stop like, you know, above these, all these closes, right? That's pretty critical. That 30,350 area has been pretty solid right here. So just above that, right? Just above some of those wicks there, with your target zone being, you know, like this. You could almost have two of them, right? One here and a second one like this. So something like that. But again, you may, if you're allowed to get into it now, just because we are showing that that's probably going to be the case, especially because what we just saw in DXY. So you're allowed to get into it at any time here. And your stop being 3-to-1 would be right where we had it here. So 3-to-1 there, 3-to-1 here allows for a little bit more of a loose stop. So if your target was a little bit lower, you can have a little bit of a higher stop, right? Be like this at that point. So just account for that, right? Make sure you can stomach a potential 7% loss, right? And in return, you can, 16.5 to 22.5% gain potentially here. So yeah, I think that, you also, if you grab it on the breakout back test, it would look more like this, right? So if you had it more like this, your stop would have to be a little tight, at least 2-to-1, right? At least 2-to-1. But to be 3-to-1, you'd be a little more conservative like this. So that something like that, basically, right? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, let's move on to ETH USD. And again, look what happened here, guys. Today we hit this critical support where, just like Bitcoin almost, right? Well, did we already lose it on ETH, right? Is ETH like leading the way here? Because see how this is like Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's like right here. So you break out, back test, and then you sell off right into that zone, right? So this is almost representing Bitcoin, but unfortunately, because it's ETH, it's going to go one more level down, right? So where is that next level? We're gonna have to come all the way back. So see, this is our previous square up here and the previous low. So that's where we are right now. But once we lose that, next level is going to be, yeah, right there. Sorry, let me move this over so you can see. Let me just bring it in so you can see what we're looking at here. So you can see this two yellow lines are where we are right now. We're sitting on the bottom one. So the next square up is going to be back here from March 26th at 1584. So we'll mark that one. And then looks like we pretty much tagged this one and we pretty much tagged this one. So I think we're clear there. So I'm going to go with that's our culprit. That's our target. Not the culprit, but that's the target zone. And that represents exactly what we were just doing, right? Without even knowing it was there, we knew it was there because it just makes sense. So on ETH, this is potentially, 10%, okay? 10%, 1580. Yeah. And look, ETH's doing the same thing, guys. Hidden bearish divergence, okay? And you'd be like, well, Duck, there's nothing there. And it's like, yeah, exactly. That's how weak the buying was. Shit, man, on the daily. So this is probably going to push over and 1584. Okay, so in order for this to not push over, you have to, start reclaiming levels here as support, right? Support. If you can't do that and we end up doing the opposite, resistance, right? You're going to end up here very, very easily, especially if Bitcoin does what we just talked about, right? Okay. Moving on to Sol. Again, critical support right now. If you look back, this was our previous neckline here. We had this white neckline here on this 3 rising valleys, 3 higher lows here that we then, mooned out of, right? So we're sitting back at that neckline right now. So we have to hold. That's super critical. But because of Bitcoin and Ethereum, odds are this is going to follow. So maybe you see a small rally to 47, but then you sell off, right? And if we get this sell off, again, where do we fall? So we're currently on the yellow line. So as we come back in here and we look to see, we're looking for a level of square up, and there's 2 of them, very clear. One being from July 21st and the second being from July 29th, okay? So there's your zone on Sam, Ethereum, Solana. Look again, right in those lines we marked, guys. So like without knowing, we just roughly, like, that's just naturally what happens. Like, it's just a range. If you lose the range, you mark down into the next one, and that's it. So range midpoint of the next one. Okay, so selling off here, find yourself here. 23, between 23.75 and $28 would be ideally a nice little buy zone, because by the time you get down there, again, you should turn hidden bearish divergence into class A bullish divergence, because you're going to sell this off and make a new island, and that island is going to paint class A bullish divergence, right? So now again, wherever that paints, right, wherever that rotates, our pivots, it's going to be somewhere in that zone that we marked, right? So makes sense. Unfortunately, it makes sense. But I mean, just take advantage of it, right? Another place to add up. Add longs. All right. Ave. Okay. Ave, looking at Ave. Same thing, right? Nothing is gonna be different. They're all gonna follow, they're all gonna match. And look, this stupid hidden bearish divergence painting is literally hiding because people don't notice there's literally an island here. If you go to the 12-hour, it's there. It's right there, okay? Look at that. Clear as day on the 12-hour. And it's literally 3x on the 12-hour where you have the previous, you see what I'm saying? There's 3 of them. You have this previous high, then the current one, and then the current one, right? So it's 3x hidden bearish divergence on the MACD with tail end hidden bearish divergence on the RSI, and then your RSI again starting to kind of roll over on that back end bearishly, guys. This is, yeah, lose this support here, right? And you're going to sell off and you're going to sweep the low. Okay. Litecoin, everything's doing the same thing. It doesn't matter what we look at here. Doesn't matter what we look at here. They're all doing the same thing. They're all going to follow Bitcoin and ETH per always, right? Nothing's changed. Just reload, right? Just take advantage of this, let it sell off, let this reset. Okay, right here. There's your reset, okay? Allow this to reset in this reset, in this reset zone, okay? You reaccumulate and then we long again, okay? It's not the end of the world. Again, on spot, some of these spot positions, I'm probably not even gonna close them. I'm just gonna weather the storm, rally through. On others, I will add a couple. I might just close, but not all of them. Just whatever. Again, I'm not trading high leverage here. So when you're watching what we're doing here and you're applying 20x leverage to it, this is not part of the plan, okay? So you applying this to the analysis here is not what we're doing, okay? So that's like you're trying to cheat, right? So I'm applying this analysis for the most part here based on a spot trader's position, okay? So keep that in mind. Dodge doesn't look, yeah, no, it's just as bad. It's the same. Hidden bearish divergence, right? So you're gonna get Dodge. Let's see. How cheap are we gonna get Doji? So currently we're sitting here. We're sitting here, right? Let's just see where we are. Okay, makes sense. We're kind of on that, again, what would have been kind of a neckline, right? What we talked about, previous neckline on this, like, you know, rising position here, right? Okay, so you are currently sitting just above that, which is right here at this square up. So you have basically this one below you, but if we lose that, you kind of have one here at 5 cents. I don't know if that's enough. It's decent. It's decent. Okay. So we'll mark this. And aside from that, though, man, this void down here is really, really ugly. See this square up down here? This is like a Elon tweet down here, January 28th. Go back to Elon, and that at, man, Dodge was nothing there, 0.007. We're gonna revisit that one day, but I don't know if that'll be here. Hopefully this holds. So let's look here at, and let's go right here. Okay, so let's go back to where we are. Okay, so currently, if we were to fall out of this range, we're gonna go right into here, 4 or 5 cents, right? 4 to 5 cents. If you ever lose 4 or 5 cents, that's when it could get there. There's a nasty void there, so you don't want to see that. You want to see this recover here. Okay. Aside from that, guys, again, everything's pretty much the same. Look at this. Oh man, on Rune, it's about to get ruined. See how what was once critical support, we're falling out of it now. So Rune's about to get ruined. Probably going to $1.50. So you're gonna lose $1 on Rune. That's unfortunate. $1 to $1.50. Yeah, this could mark down bad. I mean, nobody cares about Rune, right? So why would anyone bother holding it up? It's not doing anything from a technology standpoint, right? We're not here for that. So losing support here, literally just today. You were showing signs of life. Look at this. The day before you closed right above it, right? You fell through, but then you got above it, but then yesterday just lost it all. So, and now even below where you closed. So yeah, this is not good on Rune. You had so much potential right here, and then in one day it was gone. Hidden bearish divergence, same thing. Okay, CRV, hidden bearish divergence here as well. Yep. Hidden bearish divergence, where you're painting a higher high on the positive momentum, but you're painting a much lower level on price. Hidden bearish divergence. Yep. And another one, RND, looks to be the same. Hidden bearish divergence. Let's see, we may have to zoom in here, but that's why it's hidden, right? You have to find it that way, and there it went. See, here was your chance, right? This is what I was talking about. You almost had it 3 times too. 1, 2, 3. There was your chance on your rally, right? And you just couldn't muster it, and now you went and did this. So now we need to do this so we can paint something there in our favor, right? So, and there's nothing, because this is like, you're at the bottom here. So when you mark down from here, there's nothing to go off of, right? So at best you can fib it here, right? So you see a mark down, you can see the 1272, the 1414, or the 1618, and what will tell you will be based on when this kind of rolls back over, right? Which one of these levels are you at, which one's going to hold, and also at some point they're going to correlate with Bitcoin, so more than likely it's going to be in here. That's probably going to be your zone between 40 cents and 47 cents, right? So ouch, from here to there, it's potential like 30-35%. I don't know if it's going to be that bad or not, but yeah. Bitcoin, hidden bearish divergence. It's a bastard every time, and it's rearing its ugly head right now. So emergency stream breaking out of the RSI bearishly, right? bearish breakout here on the RSI, and hidden bearish divergence on the MACD in this neutral formed wedge pattern. Potential markdown in price from here, 16 to 20%. Yeah, I mean, if you were to mark down 16 to 20% here, you could easily 35 on the alts. So that's why that's the math is the math, right? So all right, guys, just emergency stream DXY. You know, we're hitting that 50% retracement where you fib from the low to high. You can see we're sitting right there at 101 at that 50. So makes sense that this could be a turning point for Bitcoin as DXY you know, bounces back the opposite direction. Okay, so catch you guys back in the Discord. Oh, you know what, one last thing, just for shits and giggles, we haven't done this in a while, and I think being that the situation we're looking at here, let's see how this plays out. All right, so right here, boom, there it is, our friend the old magic 8-ball. Oh, I hate to say it, but freaking EK is gonna be giving us shit probably for the next good week. And yep, we're gonna have to listen to it. He's gonna keep being mean. So here we go, magic 8-ball. What's it gonna be? Yep, I knew it. I knew it. That's it. End of stream. See you guys in the Discord. Hope you enjoyed. Duck out. Peace.